Hey everybody, it's the Lit Optimist. Today talking about another Stephen King short story, another Stephen King short story, The Blue Air Compressor. Um Short story by Stephen King. Gerald Nately is a young writer who writes a short story about his friend's wife, Mrs. Layton. No first names for the couple are given. Mrs. Layton is an enormously obese woman, so Gerald calls the short story The Hog. Mrs. Layton finds the story and mocks it, saying she was too big for him to write about her, so she shoves the nozzle of an air compressor in her mouth and So he shoves the nozzle of an air compressor in her mouth and overinflates her, causing her to explode. Her remains are buried under the tool shed, and Gerald flees to the Near East after retelling the story of the blue air compressor. Gerald's crime is never discovered, and eventually he cuts off his own head with a guillotine after writing several dark and misunderstood novels, essays, short stories, and poems. In the heavy metal reprint of the story, Gerald shoots Mrs. Layton before overinflating her. I think I read the first one where he just like shoves it in. It's a very weird story, very comedic. But the best part of this shit, let me look it up. Isn't the story itself. Like it's very, like I said, comedic. It's very out there for a Stephen King thing. Like he does some really. There we go. January 26, 20. I read this back in 2018. And he blew my goddamn mind with this. He breaks the fourth wall out of nowhere. He goes, hello, my own name, of course, is Steve King, and you're part of my intrusion on your mind, or I hope you will. I could argue that the drawing aside of the curtain of presumption between reader and author is permissible because I'm the writer, i.e., since it's my story, I'll do any goddamn thing I please with it. But since that leaves the reader out of it completely, that is not valid. I was like, Stephen King is talking to me right now. Whoa! Like he just completely was like, fuck this short story. It's stupid. It's comedic. Let me add my own like. That's the scariest part of this. Is that he's like, oh, hi, it's Stephen King here. You're reading the story right now. Sorry to, I don't mean to interrupt, but fuck you, I'm the writer. I'll do what I want. Whoa! Steven! Steve, can I call you Steve? Shit. That's insane. Oh, man. That's crazy. Thanks as always to my cousin, Natalie Titus, for requesting this short story. Stephen King, everything imaginable, except films. I dread watching the films when I get to them. Like, I've seen a couple of Stephen King movies, which is why I called him my favorite author, is because of the movies. And then when I watch the movies now, I'm like, the books are so much better. And I feel like one of those guys, like, oh, you haven't read the book, have you? But, I mean, that's how I feel about, like, The Shining and shit like that. I'm kind of going off topic here. I usually do this for Natalie and Ben, her husband, my cousins, to give updates on the Dark Tower, because that's what I'm reading right now. I've decided, instead of doing like, because I haven't done it here yet, but I've read and reviewed all the Harry Potter books on my Nick's Reviews page on Facebook. And how I did that was I do it this way: request, and then my own book, and then request. And since Natalie requested every Stephen King thing ever, I was like, Stephen King, my own book, Stephen King, my own book, Stephen King. And I was like, that's not fair to all the other fucking people that requested other shit. So I said, request Stephen King, my choice, and then a request for like Harry Potter was the next one on the list. I was like, then I'll do that. I'll do it that way. But it kind of fucked everything up, because I was like, I'm going to review Carrie, and then I'm going to review a fucking like comic book that doesn't take that long. It's a nice palate cleanser. And then Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Let's read Cujo, and let's read the Bible. And then Harry Potter, and that kind of fucked up everything. So when I do the reviews here, I'm going to review weekly basis. Oh, this is Harry Potter 1, Harry Potter 2. And that's what I'm doing with the Dark Tower now. I'm trying to change that format up on Nick's Reviews too, so that it's not so fucking confusing. Like, wait, why did he review all that? Like, why did he split up the Harry Potter movies, books like that? Like, that's fucking weird. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it differently. So I'm reading the Dark Tower right now. I just finished the third one, and now I'm on 4, Wizard and Glass. And Holy shit! I had to message them. I was like on the toilet taking a shit, and I was like reading my story. I'm like, Captain Trips. Like, oh my god, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll review the Dark Tower when I get to it. Eventually, whenever that is. But thank you. Thank you for listening to my review on the Blue Air Compressor and hearing me talk about uh, very personal things. I didn't need to tell you what I was doing when I was reading the Dark Tower. But thank you guys. You have a good one.